It all begins where Arisu gets kicked out by his dad after skipping a job interview for video games. He meets his friends, Chota and Karubi, and after causing a minor crash, they hide in a restroom. When they step out, the city is completely empty, and their phones are dead. A billboard directs them to a game, where they meet two others. They must pick between two doors, one marked live, the other die. A girl chooses wrong and is instantly killed. Arisu realizes it's not just luck and figures out the right path. They escape, but Chota gets injured. Their reward? A 3-day visa. Then they see a man's visa expire. He's instantly killed by a laser. The only way to survive? Keep playing. Introduces to Usagi, where she remembers rock climbing with her dad and vows to survive. Arisu and the others take shelter. That night, Chota stays behind, and he and Shibuki grow close. Meanwhile, Arisu, Karube, and Usagi enter their next game. Tag 5 of Spades. A masked gunman hunts them while they search for a safe room before a bomb explodes. Arisu figures out the room's location. He and Usagi stop the bomb just in time. The taggers, forced participants, die as their collars explode. Karube finds a radio repeating, "The answer is in our hands. Return to the beach." That night, he, Karube, Chota, and Shibuki enter a hearts game, hide and seek. One player, the wolf, survives while the others, lambs, die. Shibuki starts as the wolf but passes it to Arisu. Realizing there's no escape, he tries to sacrifice himself, but Karube, Chota, and Shibuki choose to die for him. Their collars explode, leaving Arisu the sole survivor. Usagi finds Arisu grieving and takes him in. That night, they join a game called Distance, a race through a tunnel. Along the way, they face exhaustion, a panther attack, and a deadly flood. Arisu realizes the bus was the goal all along and saves Takuma, the only other survivor. With the game cleared, Arisu and Usagi head for the beach. With only 3 days left on his visa, Arisu and Usagi track a group to the beach, a place where survivors gather to collect game cards. Captured upon arrival, they meet Hatter, the eccentric leader who forces them to join and give up their 7 of Hearts card. By night, teams are sent out to play deadly games. Arisu enters Light Bulb, where rising water threatens electrocution. Using logic, he picks the right switch and survives. After reuniting with Usagi, he clashes with Aguni, but Hatter intervenes, later revealing his delusional belief that tragedy is necessary for heroes. After Hatter's death, Aguni becomes leader. Chishiya tricks Arisu and Usagi, leading to their capture. As Arisu is tied up and Usagi is nearly assaulted, Chishiya steals the cards. A new game, Witch Hunt, begins, where players must find the killer of a girl and throw them into the fire of judgment. Aguni and his crew kill innocents, throwing their bodies into the fire of judgment. Chishiya sets Naragi on fire, and Kuina defeats Last Boss using her martial arts skills. Arisu, still tied up, screams for help. Usagi rescues him, and Arisu figures out who the witch is. Arisu stops Aguni from killing everyone and reveals he was the one who killed Hatter. Aguni is crushed, learning Hatter wanted to die by his hand. Arisu figures out Momoka was the witch and killed herself to start the game, and confirms it. They throw Momoka's body into the fire, clearing the game. Aguni sacrifices himself to save everyone from Naragi, and the resort burns down. Later, Arisu and Usagi find a video revealing Asahi and Momoka were game dealers. They discover a secret lair, where Mira reveals the next stage, fighting for the face cards. Commences the next day at noon, with fireworks exploding and blimps with banners of the face cards. At Shibuya Crossing, Arisu's group is attacked by a mysterious figure, the King of Spades, and they realize they're in his game. After a dangerous car chase, they escape to an apartment. Later, Arisu and Usagi bond over their pasts. Arisu wants to go home, but Usagi doesn't. The next day, Arisu decides to join the King of Clubs game for safety. They reach the harbor where they meet Kuma, the nudist leader, who reveals he's from Mira's country. Kuma's team used to be a popular band, but now they're in the King of Clubs game. In Osmosis, teams start with 10,000 points and can battle, find items, or defend bases. Arisu's team leads by using a strategy with Tatsu guarding the base and others winning battles. But Kuma's team catches up by attacking their base. Arisu tries to fight back by targeting the enemy base, but it fails. As they're about to lose, Usagi finds the last item, but Naragi attacks her. Tata's past is revealed. He was a mechanic who caused a terrible accident when he placed a car jack wrong, injuring his coworker Kato. This left him with deep guilt and a vow to do things right. Arisu stops Naragi from attacking Usagi and takes her to safety. With little hope, Arisu meets Kyuma and tricks him into thinking he has fewer points. Arisu reveals he helped Tata hurt his hand to get an extra bracelet, which gave them enough points to win. Kyuma accepts defeat and is killed, and his team follows. Tata dies from his injuries after the game ends. Meanwhile, in the Jack of Hearts game at Teo Prison, Chishiya joins a game of solitary confinement, where players must guess their card suit. Players lie, and things get deadly. Aramaki leads an alliance, but when players start lying, they're eliminated. In the end, eventually Chishiya's companion, Ippei, forfeits and quits the game, being killed in his cell. At the end of the episode, only 5 players including Chishiya remain. 5 players remain in the Jack of Hearts game: Chishiya, Yaba, Kotoko, Banda, and Matsushita. Chishiya figures out Matsushita is the Jack, and he's tortured until he confesses. Arisu and Usagi, after wondering if winning will let them return home, find a film revealing the truth behind the Borderlands. Before they can learn more, the King of Spades attacks. Arisu gets knocked out, and when he wakes up, he finds the woman and Aguni who survived the beach fire. Arisu meets Aguni by the campfire, while Haya recalls surviving a brutal game in the Borderlands. Aguni struggles with guilt. The group tries to trap the King of Spades, but it fails. Arisu falls off a cliff and survives, searching for Usagi but can't find her. Usagi joins a woman and child Koda, and they play the Queen of Spades game. After losing most of their team, they embrace joining the Queen's side, but she targets Arisu, attracted to him. Usagi fights the Queen of Spades to protect Arisu, but loses. Despite this, Arisu and Usagi inspire the players to rejoin their team with hopes of returning to their world. The challenger team wins after a fierce battle, but the Queen of Spades jumps to her death without revealing how to return home. Meanwhile, Chishiya participates in the King of Diamonds game. After several rounds, he uses strategy and luck to outsmart Kuzuryu and win. Kuzuryu sacrifices himself for Chishiya's victory. Later, Arisu and Usagi share a moment in a hot spring and kiss. Injured Naragi walks past a man dying from suicide and refuses to help. Anne and Quina reunite during the Queen of Clubs game, while other players face off in different games. Arisu and Chishiya meet, but Naragi shoots Chishiya. After a gunfight, Arisu and Usagi manage to survive, and the King of Spades arrives, chasing them. The group sets a trap using explosives, but the king survives. Aguni tackles him into a store, and Arisu triggers a bomb, killing the king. Aguni is stopped from killing himself by Hatter's ghost. The group, though injured, prepares for the final game, the Queen of Hearts, with Mira waiting for them. In the final game, Arisu and Usagi need to finish 3 rounds of croquet. After some back and forth, Mira reveals the truth. The world is just Arisu's imagination, and he's in a psychiatric hospital. Arisu almost gives up, but Usagi stops him, reminding him of his promise. He finishes the game, defeating Mira, and the game's end. The surviving players can choose to return to their world. Arisu wakes up in a hospital, realizing the games were all a result of a meteorite that hit Tokyo. He and Usagi reunite, though she doesn't remember him. The scene ends with a Joker card blowing in the wind.